Hello and welcome back. Before we launch into this week's video, I just wanted to mention, if you're someone who lives in the Pacific Northwest, maybe you own a home here, maybe you want to buy a home here, maybe you just want to know what the best neighborhoods are in town. Well, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. We're going to be posting lots of great content every single week, all about the Pacific Northwest and real estate. All right, this week's topic, we're going to be talking all about the appraisal process and how it affects you as a buyer. With the appraisal process, the banks are essentially determining the value of the home because they want to make sure that whatever they are investing in is going to be worth the money that they are spending. The way that they're going to assess that value is by hiring someone called an appraiser. And the appraiser's role is to act as a pretty objective, neutral party who will come out and look at comps for the area. You know, they're looking about 6 months back in a 1 mile radius around the home. And they're looking at similar style homes and they're gonna say, okay, we have this, pile of homes, this pile of homes. Is the value of the sale price for this home that's being purchased conducive with these other prices? And hopefully it is. But there's a few ways that this can manifest at the end of it. They will give back a report and usually they'll say one of three things. They'll say value is low, which means that the lender will not want to lend on it. They'll only lend up to what the assessed value is. It will meet value, meaning that the home meets sale price, or the value meets the sale price and the bank will feel comfortable moving forward. Or option 3, which is that probably the best situation for a buyer, which basically means you have more equity in the home than you're buying it for, which is great. But we're going to talk about the most challenging one, which is when the appraisal comes in low. So a low appraisal essentially means that, like I said, the bank is not willing to lend on the price that it's being sold for. They'll lend for what it has appraised for. So if it meets a price of $380 and the sale price is $400, then there's a $20,000 gap. Seller's not going to be getting that money. The buyer isn't going to be able to finance that money. So what do we do? Well, we have a few options. Option number 1, which is probably the least ideal, is we terminate, which, that just means nobody wins really. Option 2 is we meet the seller in the middle. And then option 3 is that the seller either comes all the way down to us or we go all the way up to them. Just depends on the circumstance and we can always negotiate through that. But before we even get there, we have an option for something called a reconsideration of an appraisal. And what a reconsideration of an appraisal is where, as the buyer's agent, I get a chance to look at the appraisal report. I look at the comps that the seller has, or the appraiser has selected, and I have an opportunity to defend the sale price. So I can bring in additional properties that maybe weren't referenced in the appraisal that could help defend the value. I can pick apart the appraisal itself and say, hey, you picked this home that's on a very busy street and our property is not on a busy street, so I don't think that these are really fair like-for-like comps. I send these notes and additional properties off to the lender who sends it to the appraiser because I don't have a direct line of communication with the appraiser. It's pretty important just to make sure they stay neutral. And then they get back to me. And hopefully the response is, well, Thomas, you were totally right, and we're gonna adjust our value. If the value gets adjusted, then that means that either they've decided, they'll make up the difference and they'll go back up to the sale price, or they'll bring it up slightly, which means there's a smaller gap to bridge. Either way, that's typically the approach that we handle appraisals with. It is a very case-by-case scenario. I can't always say this will be the outcome. Which is why you want an advocate working with you who's someone who really understands that each situation is tailored to your unique experience. All right, that's gonna do it for us. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the comments section below and feel free to subscribe. We are going to be posting lots of great content, as I've mentioned, every single week. So we hope to see you back again next week and have a great rest of the day.